If you decided to live in Brazil and you want to know everything about Brazilian immigration law, you are in the right place. I'm Clarissa Barroso from BFA, and I'm here to help you understanding Brazilian law and immigration in order for you to get your plans done to stay in Brazil. If you decided to live in Brazil, the first thing you need to know is how to get your authorization of residence in Brazil. It's a permit of residence. There's two ways of getting it. The first way is when you are outside Brazil and you want to get a longer visa to enter Brazil. This is the most common to get here in Brazil. The second way is to get an authorization of residence being here in Brazil. You are a tourist, you arrived here, you decided to live here to stay longer. You have to go to the Brazilian authorities and say, I want to change my status from tourist to another status. This authorization of residence will allow you to stay longer. So the first step is to know what kind of authorization of residence Brazil has and what kind is the best for you. Brazil has a lot of types of authorization of residence. We have those for those that have family here. We have authorization of residence for those that want to work here. We have authorization of residence for those that are retired and want to spend their time here in Brazil. The first thing is understand who you are, how much do you earn, what are your conditions, and understanding Brazilian immigration law means you have to do your research. If you want to start easier, you need to hire an immigration attorney to help you out with the best kind of visa for you. But I will list the main kinds for you to understand what kinds you can try to look by yourself. For example, the authorization of residence based on work requires you to work for a Brazilian company and you must be a qualified professional. So to be a qualified professional can vary a lot. You have to check if you have enough education, if you are in a position that is very important, or if you are in a position that is very needed in the Brazilian market. This can be very subjective, but it's very important to understand that not all kinds of work allows you to have an authorization of residence based on work. The second kind of authorization of residence that we have is the digital nomad one. If you work remotely for a foreign company, and if you earn more than $1,500 per month, you can be considered a digital nomad for Brazilian rules. This visa has been used a lot for people that work with technology, for example, esports players, journalists, people that work with artificial intelligence. We have a lot of people that come to Brazil to work remotely and to spend their lives here, and they can stay here up to 1 year, and this is renewable for 2 years. The third most used authorization of residence is the one based on family reunion, which means that you have a Brazilian spouse or a Brazilian parent or someone that is really close to you in your family that is Brazilian. This Brazilian member has to live in Brazil, so it's very important to organize this in advance before coming to Brazil, because you may need your marriage certificate from outside Brazil, you will need your birth certificate and other documents that prove that you are related to a Brazilian. We have also a lot of kinds of investment authorization of residence, either for buying property in Brazil or to invest in companies. Those kind of authorization of residence are more complex, but they allow you to stay in Brazil and to invest in Brazil, and they are very interesting for those that want to open a company here or to earn money here in Brazil. In this video, we have chose 4 kinds of Brazilian authorization of residence options, but Brazil has a lot of authorization of residence options, including different work authorization of residence based on different works. So if you need to understand what are your options, the best idea is always to consult with an immigrant lawyer for you to understand what paths you can pursue when you want to live in Brazil. After having your procedure of authorization of residence granted, you will receive what we call a CRNM, which means CRNM, Carteira de Registro Nacional Migratório. It means that you have a Brazilian ID, a foreigner Brazilian ID, and this will be your identification as a foreigner in Brazil. Your ID can be called as well RNE, because this was a former name of this ID in Brazil, and there are some authorities that still use the former name. But in all cases, having this document is very important for you to have your civil life in Brazil. Buy property, open a bank account. This document that proves that you are legal in Brazil and that you have an authorization of residence that is valid is very important for you to do those things in Brazil. Along with your Brazilian foreigner ID, you need to present as well your CPF. What is the CPF? The CPF is your social security number used for tax purposes. So having a CPF doesn't mean that you are Brazilian. Having a CPF just means that you are a taxpayer in Brazil, or you can be a potential taxpayer in Brazil. A lot of foreigners have CPFs not living in Brazil just to come and visit. For example, to open a bank account in Brazil, you need to have a CPF along with your foreigner ID. Having a CPF in Brazil is very good for you because a lot of companies request that you present your CPF before buying anything. For example, before buying flight tickets in Brazil, you need to have a CPF in order to get in a Brazilian website air company. So if you are coming to Brazil and you are staying longer, even though you don't want to live in Brazil, having a CPF is very important. And how to get a CPF? This is the most important question. You have to request a CPF before the IRS, the Brazilian IRS, da Receita Federal. You have to ask this document for the Receita Federal, and you need to get this either in your country using the services of a Brazilian embassy, or in Brazil directly in the Receita Federal. You can also request a lawyer or someone to request a CPF on your behalf if you are in Brazil. Make the process even easier because a lawyer can help you out with all the bureaucracy. Requesting a CPF can be done as well by proxy. So you can hire a lawyer or ask someone to represent you before the Receita Federal and to deal with all the documents to get your CPF done.